He also was fortunate enough to be able to be a digital nomad as well.
Yeah, for almost 2 years, yes.
Yeah, and made an online course for weightlifting.
Online course for weightlifting. Yeah, SA accredited, ESSA and Australian Active accredited. That's the PT Association. And we also have courses for running, powerlifting, pelvic floor, and sales as well. That was all in the personal training world, plus some of them were also ESSA accredited. Yeah, so thank you for the very nice, warm introduction.
Okay. So he is very qualified to talk about anything related to sales.
Peter, could you just quickly check that it's recording for me?
Oh, yeah.
I think it should be.
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, perfect. Okay. Cool. So like Peter said, I've basically created a lot of products in my career so far. But like you guys, I'm actually a physio. I was a physio for about 18 months before I finished off. And the reason I finished off was actually because he's very well aware, but I just did too much. It wasn't really the field was bad. It was more because I was training for the Commonwealth Games at the time. I was running my own company at the time, and I was also coaching and doing all these other things. So that's the main reason I left. I was just doing too many things, and I was only 24, 20, 25. I couldn't handle it. Basically, after I finished off my career as a physio, right, I didn't know that I would quit for real, but I thought I wanted to come back and do something different. I was young, I thought, I'm young, I have time, let's do something I've always wanted to do, which was basically start my own company focusing on courses. So that's really what I did. And since then, I've been selling courses, I've sold retreats, I've sold personal training, and because of my competitive background, I've also sold performance consults and helping other athletes go to a higher level with their performance. So in terms of knowing how to sell things, especially in health and performance, I've got a lot of things that I've learned along the way that is going to help you guys as well. So let's go into it. Firstly, why am I here? There's 2 reasons I'm here today. The first one is to show you the art of setting expectations. Now, a lot of people actually get this wrong. They don't know exactly how it works, so they can't set expectations. And the second thing is to show you guys how we use listening to not only convince somebody to come to our point of view, but also to give them a good experience. Okay, listening, I would say, for me, sells most of my sales than actually telling them anything. I've just learned to listen very, very well. Okay, so I've already gone through who I am, and Peter's already gone through who I am, so I won't spend too much time on this. Let's skip ahead. First question I want to ask you guys is, why do we have to learn to set expectations? So I'll pose this to you two, because we've already spoken about this a lot, but why do we have to learn how to set expectations?
I feel like, from my experience, if you set an expectation of, if it's a service that you're providing, or even if it is within the consult, or today we're planning to do an assessment, we might do some light hands-on treatment, we give you a plan to go home with today. The patient knows what they're getting from that session, and it's not like because they might have come in with some other previous experience with physio that, I thought I was going to come in, I was going to get 60 minutes of hands-on therapy, that's it. Mm-hmm. Whereas I say, I was planning going, all right, we're going to do 20 minutes of an assessment, 20 minutes of a plan, and 20 minutes of treatment.
Yep,
right?
yep.
And I find that if you can set that expectation, this is what we're thinking of doing.
Yep.
They can voice if they have any other concerns of what they might want to achieve in that session, then you kind of come to a more collaborative. Mm-hmm. Like the goal where both parties come out a bit more happy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So making sure everyone's on the same page. Yeah. Would you have any thoughts on that?
Along those lines as well. Setting, I guess, realistic expectations. There's also the emotional and psychological sides of what patients go through with their journey. Because then they just fail. They set it up too high. This was going to happen, didn't mean it, back down.
Yep.
Then it can crash, and you can start building the foundations again, and the journey can just become volatile. Yeah,
so I think what you guys both showed is that it's important, right? The one thing you just touched on, which is setting the emotional expectation, that is what we're going to really focus on today. Because the logic expectation is only powerful because of the emotion that comes from it. Like when you have a patient who is in pain, they're not logically thinking about the logic of pain. they're feeling the intensity of pain. So when that goes through their behavior, it's driven by how they feel about certain things. It's not really driven by how they think about certain things. It's a very rare individual. Like only 10% of people will think about pain. Most people feel their pain first, and that drives their thinking. So setting expectations is actually how we influence that. So I'm going to show you guys two things to illustrate to you how important it is to understand what this is. So first picture. Who knows him? You should know him.
Let's go.
Yeah, we know. Do you know who this is? Yeah? Okay. Who knows him?
No, I don't know.
You don't know him? Don't know him, right? Don't know him? Huh? Don't know him? Okay. I bet you guys know him. I bet you guys know him. And I'm going to play something to show you guys that you do.
Oh, man.
Do you know the song?
Yeah, I know the song.
You know the song?
There's a garbage can.
That's him.
Is it Daniel Bedingfield?
Daniel Powder.
Powder! Oh!
That's him.
Powder!
That's him.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The reason I showed you that is what happened to you just when you realized that that was him. How did you feel? Yeah, whoa, like you had that whoa reaction, right? Yeah, ooh, what the hell? Like what? Yeah, he's good looking. So I showed you this because I wanted to have you feel how you can make your patient feel if you know how to do this. And I did this on purpose. I manufactured an emotion inside you just like that. And the reason I could do that is because I understand how it works. Why did we find out about Jeremy Lin? What do you know about him?
He had a massive breakout game. Well, depends on which Jeremy Lin we're talking about.
That is so
Are we talking about like New York Knicks Jeremy Lin?
Yes,
Or
sir.
are we
Yeah.
talking about Lakers Jeremy Lin?
Yeah.
It's still insanity.
Yes, sir.
Massive period where he's popped off.
Yeah, he had a massive period that he popped off, right? And what do you know about Daniel Powder?
Pretty similar thing.
He had a massive hit, and then one hit wonder, nothing happened. But it's the same thing between Jeremy Lin and Daniel Powder. They both had a period of like exceeded all expectations, but then afterwards nobody knew who they were. And I had to remind you of who Jeremy Lin is. So the breakout season set the expectation of what you think of him. But the another reason why you actually made Jeremy Lin and Daniel Powder explode is because prior to their hits, nobody knew who they were. So if LeBron James went and did the same thing as Jeremy Lin, but you already knew who LeBron was, do you get the same effect? You don't, right? Because LeBron's average is already so high that if he averaged what Jeremy Lin was averaging, they'd be like, oh, LeBron's just being LeBron. And then you don't really get like, whoa. But Jeremy Lin, prior to his break, was averaging basic numbers. And then something happened, he blew up, and he went back to this crazy number, which was the average of similar to the top players. So he had a breakout sensation. They went, oh my God, this guy's amazing. But then after that, now everyone's judging him based off that performance, and he went back to his baseline, which is his average, and now everyone thinks he's crap, or like he's not as good. But his baseline after that breakout was the same as his before his breakout. So he's just playing the same. You've just measured him against something even more now. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, okay. So with Daniel Powder, he had a great song. And then the song after, everyone was like, oh, it's Daniel Powder again. I bet you it's going to be a good song. But what happened? It wasn't, because you don't know about him. Right? If you did know about him, like Taylor Swift, every album she releases, everyone thinks Taylor's going to be great, Taylor's going to be great. And she delivers. But Daniel, sadly, doesn't have probably the team behind him, and he just couldn't do it. So I'm going to show you guys how you can do that to your patient. Okay, so let's do another one. Who here runs? Any runners? No runners? No runners?
I want to be a runner, I don't know how I am a runner.
All right, how long have you ran?
In terms of distance
Yeah.
but I'll do about like 12 Ks.
All right, cool. So you'll understand this. Okay, so let's just say you want to do some long distance running, you want to train for it, okay? And I'm going to give you some options. The first one you're going to train for is called the UTA 100 miler. That's your first option to train for. If you want to race, that's 160 kilometers. Okay. First one. Second one, this is the UTA 100. So this is only 100 Ks. So it's 60 Ks less than the UTA 100 mile. That's your second option. And the third race you can train for is the marathon, 42.2. Okay, out of those three, which one sounds most realistic for you right now? Marathon, 42.2, yeah? But the marathon completion rate throughout the entire world is 0.01%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is 0.0000, this one's like 0.000, like it's almost like unmeasurable because only a few people do this. But the reason I'll give you this is because I wanted to show you the first one that I pitched, 160. Why? Because I use something called the anchoring technique. The anchoring technique basically says that the first thing I show you is what you'll measure your decision making against. So it's the reference point. Now, it doesn't have to be anything that's actually relevant to your goal, but I can make anything seem more or less simply by using this technique really, really well. So let me give you another example. When you go to buy a car, who's bought a car here? I bought a car, everyone's bought a car here. You know what your budget is, right? Your budget's gonna be like, I've got 30 grand, roughly, that's my budget range. When you go into the dealership, if the salesperson manages to get you to work with him, the first car he will show you is the 60 grand wagon or the 70 grand wagon. And then the second car he will show you is maybe the 40. And the last car he will show you is the 25, 26 sedan, maybe. But that's usually what they do. And the reason they do that is because the first one they showed you has to be a high value. Because when you then get to the 22, 27 grand, the perception of how much that is reduced relative to if they just gave you the first option as 27. Am I making sense to that? Okay, so are you seeing why real estate agents will always pitch you high outside your budget first? So if you go and buy a house and you have a budget in your mind of 2 mil, and the real estate agent kind of understands that, he'll show you something that's 2.6 first, or 2.4, because he wants you to buy something that's 2.1. So he'll show you something higher first. That's called the anchoring technique. Now, the question is, why is this strong? Why do we need to learn this? Because if you get good at this, depending on what you present first, you can directly influence the decision-making of the person in front of you. Especially in this field. So your expectations are set by the first thing that you present to your patient. So if you have an ACL rehab, you want to get them back for, say, 6 months. Should you pitch that they're going to get better in 6 months? Or should you pitch first that they might get better in 12? Which one will give them a more of a win in terms of expectations? Ever think about that question? You would set 12? You would set 12, right? Because when they do get better in 6, what are they going to think? Damn, that we just got there in 6 months. But he said I was going to get 12 first. Obviously, I'm going to show you guys how to do this without being unethical. Like, you don't want to lie to your patient. So, as a principle, remember, if you want to make something seamless, perception, if you want to make something seamless, always present something that is outrageously more first. If you want to make something seem more, first you present something that's outrageously less. Do you see the balancing act? Okay, so let's go back to Jeremy Lin. Why did it seem like he was so amazing? Because prior to that, he was less. And then afterwards, why did he seem crap? Because you're comparing him now to when he was more. He was really, really good in the Linsanity era. Then he left, his averages went down. Now everyone's like, oh, Jeremy Lin's crap. But he's still an NBA player. How can he be crap? Okay. So, how do we apply this clinically? If I had to pose that question to you right now, just spit out something using your creativity. How do you think you would apply this technique in your practice? And you can always even chime in with your hospital experience, because you're basically pitching treatment plans for most of your cardiac patients and inpatients anyway.
Yeah, I can look at it right now, just like the prognostic side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like if someone, let's say, if it's something, you know, I always tell people, for example, neuro type of conditions, right? Like let's say someone has some sort of weakness associated with radiculopathy type of low back pain. I also want to look, yes, you've got some weakness, and let's say they go get a microdiscectomy. I say, look, this weakness can stay up to 12 months. Whereas realistically, oftentimes after surgery, within 3 months, you'll have some significant improvement in strength.
Mm-hmm.
But there are those outliers where it can take up to 12 months for them to get any improvement in strength at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I always kind of pitch it over and say, hey, look, it can take up to 12 months for any of your weakness to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, in the next couple of weeks, you know what? My weakness is actually getting better.
Mm.
I do feel stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Tests, they are getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is probably one way that's kind of clicking in me right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, that's great. That's great.
I don't really use it like in a prognostic manner.
Yeah.
I don't think anything else right now.
That's great for your first try, though. For your first try. What about you, Gian?
On the acute side, say after knee replacements or something,
Yeah.
you know how we want to get them mobilizing?
Mm-hmm.
I'd pretty much set a pretty low distance because I know they're going to beat it. And then from there, they're just confident moving forward to once they get to the rehab ward downstairs. So I've already built pretty much confidence. It's like, oh, I'm not that pain limited now. And then it's like, yeah, just smash it. I said, oh, we'll go 20 meters, but I know they can probably walk 40.
Yeah, yeah.
Double up.
Yeah, so you're almost like manufacturing wins for them.
Yeah.
Like you're controlling the wins and giving them a challenge. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's really, really good. Do you need coaching in the background?
Whatever possible kids. But
I thought so. That's because that's what you have to do with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, you set them with a win that's achievable,
Yeah.
and then when they're happy, you give them a bit more. Actually, it works for adults too. Okay, so let's apply this clinically. Both of you guys were pretty much spot on, by the way. So, look, I've got a simple patient who has ankle rehab, right? He sprained his ankle. Here's one option, you could say. You could just say to him, most ankle rehab takes 6 to 8 weeks, which is true. Which is true. Or, if I apply the anchoring effect, if the patient is slow and doesn't stick to their rehab, it can take anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks. Anchor 1. But if they're committed and do what we ask them to do, they can get out within 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, so it's very similar to what you said. The difference being, I gave them a consequence. I gave them that if you don't stick to your rehab, you don't listen, you might take 10 to 12 weeks. Anchor 1, boom, they're like, oh shit, I don't want to go for 12 weeks. And then I compared it to, if you're good, you stick through the rehab, 6 to 8 weeks, which is also clinically true. Right? I'm not lying to anyone, I'm being truthful. It's just that whether you want to be the bad patient or the good patient is up to you. Okay, now if your patient is asking about whether he needs to come back, if he doesn't have pain anymore, you probably will get this question a lot. I mean, I've had it in many other contexts. It's the same question as, I've lost 8 kilos, do I still need to train? It's the same type of question, right? Same type of question. So, A is, it depends. There are some patients who re-injure themselves and come back. True, that's true. But how would you now use the anchoring effect to say the same thing? Let's have a go. Anything, just have a go.
Start in the dark here.
Yeah, have a go.
Say something along the lines of, how would I word it? As in, yes, like, you know, next week, if you don't have any pain, that might be the case. However, in these other conditions, you can get flare-ups a bit later on down the line. So by coming in, we can make sure that we set up your maintenance program, ensure that these flare-ups don't occur as frequently. It's probably somewhere
Yeah.
I would try to start with.
Yeah. Remember, you're just spitballing. So as long as the principle's there, that's most important. You can refine what you say later. Yep. Peter, what do you think?
I would probably maybe change your structure slightly, and I'd probably start off with like you don't have pain at the moment. Doesn't necessarily mean that it won't come back. And so I'm sort of ensuring that they're aware of the context of their pain. And because of that, I guess I'm leading with that too. Then I'll say, you know, that could last 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks. But clinically, there is a very large chance that if you don't complete your treatment plan, there will be a large chance that you will relapse, and that will then lead to you actually then having pain again.
Yeah.
That's why we want to then go through this option.
Yeah.
So that if you don't want to come back in, that's also your choice.
Yeah.
Especially the prior patient, that's probably what I'd say.
Yeah. Basically, I take a very similar thing with variations of this question. But I'll show you what I prepared. And remember, it's easier for me because I'm sitting behind a screen and thinking about what's good for you guys. You guys are doing this on the spot. So bear in mind that it's not because I'm good at it, it's because I had time to prepare. You guys will have better chances at this as you prepare with your patients. Okay, so here's what I had. The patients who skip their rehab too early usually re-hurt themselves and restart the entire process from scratch, wasting their time and money. But the ones who stick through their rehab with their last 2-3 sessions won't have another flare-up for years. And clinically, I'm not lying to anyone. Clinically, it's true. Same thing with what I did earlier. I gave them the anchor, and this is the most important line. They restart the entire process from scratch, wasting their time and money, right? Which is true, and it's a consequence. But the ones who stick through the rehab with their last 2 to 3 sessions won't have another flare-up for years. Okay, so I've taken this question and I've painted something bad and I've given them something good. So now when they think about it, they go, well, if I don't do it, I have a potential of doing this. And if I do it, then I spend an extra 2-3 sessions. I don't waste what I've just achieved. So can you see the difference between these two statements? Right? This one, I'm actually painting them a picture. This one's just like, it's a logical answer and it's a good answer, but in terms of setting expectations, it does nothing. It does nothing at all. So we want to be good with our words, which means that we want to get good at second one. Another way you could become even more convincing is you want to have a couple of analogies in the back of your head, or or a story that you can use to tell people. So what my story when it comes to this is, my dad once upon a time had a UTI. We all know what a UTI is? Yeah. So he had a UTI and he went to see the doctor. He got antibiotics and it was meant to be a full 7-day course. And you guys know how antibiotics work, right? You take the full course because you need to kill it at once. If you don't take the full course, the bacteria multiplies, it gets stronger, and then you get even worse. Yeah, so my dad actually ended up taking it for 5 days, and because the side effects were so strong, he was like, fuck it, I feel better. What happened? He relapsed in about 4 days. We had to go to ER because it was that bad, and he went on 2 weeks worth of antibiotics afterwards because he didn't do it right the first time. So that story is essentially this story, right? The principle is exactly the same. You just have to have that ready when your patient asks you. One more thing I want to point out is I'm very particular with the language I use. So notice that I say this, the patients who skip their rehab too early. I generally never say if you skip your rehab too early, because sometimes people, when they hear the word you, it feels like an accusation. Like, oh, what do you mean me? Like, stop pointing the finger at me. But if you just say the patients and you describe a similar case, you're more likely to convince them without making it seem like it's an accusation on their part. Any questions on that? Okay, so let's repeat. If you want to make something seem less, first you present something that seems more. If you want to make something seem more, first you present something that seems less. So let's go through a quick brainstorm right now. Think about a patient you have that you have treated recently. How would you change what you've said to use this technique?
It probably is quite a similar situation. I had a patient who essentially came in because of like thoracic joint stiffness situation.
Yeah.
And it came up to the point where, you know, we got him on a program and he was moving well, he didn't have any pain at all, but there was probably still a little bit more that we could do to increase his just muscular capacity in terms of an injuries point of view. But he had no pain.
Yep.
Right. But for him, his main focus was, right, my pain's done, do I need to come back in? Or, you know, try to see how it goes and, you know, if I feel so I'll book back in. I think from memory and stuff, from what I know, my normal spiels, I think I probably would have said something along the lines of, it'd probably be good for you to come back in, but look, you have our number. If that's the case and that's what you want to do, you know, then go ahead and give us a buzz if anything comes up or if anything goes wrong.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I reckon if I now had to rephrase that, I'd probably go through a similar approach in the sense of, in my head, I know what I still want to work on. I know that we've still got to work on endurance, a bit more mobility in this area, and a bit of strength here. I'd probably be like, hey, look, you know, we're probably not done with your rehab plan just yet. There's still A, B, C, D that we've got to work on. I understand you're not in pain anymore. However, if we don't address these things, they can lead to observed pain, and it can go on the spiel of that. You know, patients who don't necessarily complete their full rehab, they might have a period of pain-free, but there can be a chance for non-observed again, and that would lead you to restart the whole process from scratch.
Yep.
Is probably what I'm kind of thinking right now.
Yeah. In that instance, when you were going through that consult, did you want to tell him that?
I did.
You did, right? Yeah. You wanted to.
I felt like there was a maybe something maybe
Peter.
sales part of it.
Sorry, 1 second. Your thing's lost connection. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
Maybe it was sales. Maybe it was sales is the wrong word. I'm not sure, but almost if I want to be too pushy. So
Yeah. I can see it.
I know that you're saying that you don't want to come back. But no, come. You know, I want a couple more sessions from you. I know like you're not in pain, but let me come do something. Try to provide something. I don't want to be too pushy on that end. It's potentially a while. Like, all right, look, that's how you feel. Okay, that's fine. I think because in my head, I've still got these things to do. If that's how you feel, that's all right. You got my email, you got my number.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a problem,
then
you can jump back in again.
Yeah.
I feel like I've built enough rapport to be like, right, if you want to come back in, you'd be quite comfortable to come back in.
Yeah.
But I definitely do something probably like that.
Yeah. So one thing I really want, I didn't include it here, but I want to include it now, is how do we get around the feeling of you being pushy? Because that stops clinicians from advocating for what they think is best a lot of the times. And it's not just in physio world, it's actually in all health. We have dietitians, PTs, EPs, surgeons, doctors, they don't advocate enough because they're like, oh, I don't want to be pushy. So the question is, how do we do it without being pushy? And that's what I got really good at. So how do we do this? You never tell them what to do, but you have to educate them on the extent of their choices. So in your situation, if your patient's like, do I have to come back? You have to get really good at your language. So if I was in your shoes and I had your brain with your clinical knowledge applying my own skills, I would say something like this. Whatever their name was, let's just say their name's Peter. I said, Peter, most patients have two parts now. The first path is they usually like to see through the rest of their rehab, where we have to focus on their strength, endurance, and mobility. And that's going to take, at best, another 2 to 3 sessions. And these patients usually won't have another flare-up for years. If not, they never see me again. The other patients will stop now with the pain, and they might maintain some of their exercises, but in the long run, if they don't do the rest of their rehab, they're more likely to come back with some sort of flare-up. If it's not the same, it's a body part that's close by. It's up to you what you want to do, but out of those 2 options, which one do you feel is better for you? I educate them on the process, I list out the pros and cons, and then I give them the choice. Now, obviously, if they choose, I still want to go off on my own, okay, you've done your best. But now, at the very least, you leave that consult with knowing that you've educated them on everything that you wanted to give them. And I guarantee you, most of the time, if you do a good job at just giving them the education, they will always pick the first option, because that is actually the better option. Okay, any questions on that? No questions? Cool, okay. I want to give you another example, because I think this is really important, actually. I want to move away from rehab, because this skill I'm going to teach you has is not just for rehab, it's for everything in your life. So let's use something very simple, like buying something, okay? If you want to buy a laptop, you have a MacBook, top of the range, versus my laptop, which is 1.8, but MacBook's 2.3, okay? And you have a person you're selling to who says they want a good laptop that's going to last them for 10 years, but it doesn't need to be that great. It just has to do what they need to, which is going to be video editing. By the way, this is me, right? This is me. I wanted a durable laptop that could video edit that wasn't going to break my bank. And I was given 2 options: MacBook, which was 2.3, or my HP Envy, which was 2.1 at the time. So I had 2 options. How would you, without being pushy, how would you use that same process to show me which one I should go for?
For me, I'd probably list out this, like, for this MacBook, these are all the features that it has, this is all that it can do. It might be like it can video edit, but in addition to that, it can do A, B, C, and D, and that's why it's at this price point. The Envy has these specs, has these features, it can video edit, but as it doesn't do anything else. It can video edit, and this is the situation for that. Some people prefer MacBooks because it has its own antivirus. You don't have to get anything on top of that. Versus for HP, you still have to purchase antiviruses, this and that, to get your cover. Yep. And I'll probably kind of leave that option there. That's kind of like how I'd weigh up my 2 options. Now, which one you want to go for, I think is your option after that. Yeah. That's probably the path I'd take. Yeah. So my objection at that time was there's a $200 differential, right? $200. And I really couldn't get my head around which one was more worth it, because I saved $200. So how would you get in my head and use the features, what you just described, to justify a $200 increase in the MacBook?
I go convenience, like ecosystem. Oh, I see that you also have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, it's very compatible. The ecosystem with Apple is very, very good.
Yeah.
You can AirDrop. That is a powerful tool to be able to do, to be able to use.
Yeah.
All the videos that you're going to have on your phone that you're going to record with, you can easily then AirDrop it to your MacBook. And that convenience factor alone is going to save you so much time and effort. So I'd probably say something along those lines, which would account for the $200
easily.
Easily.
Yeah, the only problem was I don't have any iPhone stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I probably would have asked.
Yeah, you would have asked, yeah. So, essentially, what got me over the line for a MacBook initially was time. So if somebody asked me right then and there, how long are you going to want this the computer to last, I would have said I want it to last me at least 6 years because that's how long my other laptop lasted me. So then if the features were the same, essentially, 6 years is, 200 divided by 6 years is what I'm really asking, right? 200 divided by 6 years. What's that, like $30 a year? What's that in months? Like $2 a month? Is that a big deal? No, right? So essentially, I was going to buy the MacBook. I went on the HP Envy. It was Black Friday sale, early Black Friday. It went down from 2.1 to 1.4, so I bought that instead. Okay, so the reason I wanted to use that example is because you can use that exact same type of thinking for a patient. Because a patient will say to you, I have pain, but I don't have pain anymore. Do I still need to come in? Essentially, what they're really thinking is, do I need to invest more money? I'm not in pain anymore. So then when you phrase your counter, you can say something like, well, in long term, without a flare-up, you won't have a flare-up where we hope forever. But from our experience, 2-3 years down the line, you won't have a flare-up. So this extra 2 sessions is giving you an extra 2-3 years. However, if you decide that you want to stop now and you get a flare-up within the next 6 to 8 months, you might have to repeat the rehab process again. And you lay it out like that for them. Which one would you rather go for? Which one suits you? Which one do you feel is best for you? Right? So I'm painting pictures with my words. Okay, any questions before we move on? Do you think you could use that like today?
I think I could. It'd be a rough start, but I think I could.
Yeah, 100%. Just go hard, whatever you want to pitch. If you want to pitch 8 sessions, pitch 12 first, come down to 8. If you want to make it seem like it costs them more to not come to rehab, paint them the long-term picture of how much more they need to spend if they don't spend now.
I guess I have a comment.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
I've gone through both routes of seeing patients that opt to not go down that path and invest more, and then also those that do opt for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I find within my own clinical experience that is very true. Like you literally, and I guess as a skeptic as well, as a natural skeptic, I would like to not get paid. And maybe it's also because of my stinginess, potentially. Like, maybe my stinginess back, like, beforehand as a new grad physio, I was always like, oh, how can I justify this? Like, as a new grad physio, I can't see, why are you spending an extra $500? Like, and I feel as though there's a lot of pressure, you know, for me to then get them to that line. And like, I don't really understand this. And so I would actually early discharge, which is now me self-reflecting as early self-discharge. I discharge them too early, and then when I see them again, fortunately they didn't point the finger at me because they didn't realize that was also my responsibility. But I also then realized I saw them 8 months later or 9 months later. The worst, funnily enough, I actually saw this patient over the weekend. Do you remember how I said I saw that patient? Yeah. Anyway, I saw a patient at the cafe. Yeah, I saw an old patient of mine at the cafe, and she did her ankle. And she had done an ankle and played netball, and then she just wanted to go play again. So I sort of said, yeah, go play again, but just make sure you do X, Y, and Z. And she sort of never came back again after that. But I sort of was like, oh, I know there's some stuff that's there. I just never sort of pursued it more because I was like, oh, I think she's okay. She's really adamant about it. I'll leave it. Lo and behold, I think it was only a couple of weeks later, she then re-sprained her ankle again. It was really, really bad. So she had to be booted and all that. And then in my mind, when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I self-reflected, like, oh,
I did a bad job.
That was, that could have been, that was actually, the onus was on me.
Yeah.
Obviously she did it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But you also know that when you reflect, you could have done more to like educate her and give her more of an informed choice. We talk about that a lot in every allied health field, even medical field, informed choice, which means you got to paint the pros and the cons of whatever they're going to do, and that's true empowerment. If you just feel like, oh, you know what, they should be all right, but in your head you think there's still other things that they need to work on, but you don't speak it, even if you speak it badly, right? But you don't speak it, you're not giving them the choice, right? So we're touching on something else now, which is whether the patient whether you can justify the cost of the patient spending that money, whether you can justify it. Right, I'm going to give you guys an illustration of what I'm about to say. I used to sell my courses, weightlifting courses, for $97. $97. Okay, it was like a 6-hour course, 10 CEC points OS active, like 8 CBD points for ESSA. It's very valuable. Not to mention, I competed for Australia. I went to China to learn about the sport. I'm very good at this, teaching this sport. And I sold it for $97 because in my mind, I thought to myself, you know what, 97, like, I feel like that's already pretty expensive. I want to give people a chance to buy it and to afford it. Guess what happened? Did anyone buy? No one bought for months. Why?
Seems too cheap.
I spoke to my mentor. He said, look, you can't go down anymore. What are you going to do? Like 40 bucks? What are you going to do, 40 bucks? Go up, see what happens. Right. How much? Whatever you're uncomfortable with, just go up. All right, it's 300. One course, 300. 1 week later, I made my first sale, $297. I wasn't even expecting it. I looked at my bank account, like $297 entered your bank account. What the f? Turns out, people buy what they feel is worth it. So Peter said, I found it hard as a new grad to justify an extra $500 for this patient. But the lesson for me and the lesson for Peter through experience is it's not up to us to decide. I can create something that's really well delivered. I value what I'm delivering and I price it at something that's fair to everyone. And if they want to buy, that's up to them. But if I don't even show them, I never give them the choice to say yes or no. Right? There's a reason why there are people who would buy a $100,000 coaching program for a year. Like you think about that who the hell wants to pay $100,000? That's a house deposit for coaching. And that's because they see something in it that's worth it for them. And the person delivering it is able to give them what they want. So when it comes to whether you think it's justified for the patient, remove yourself from the equation because you believe that they're poor. Well, what if they're rich? What if they're poor but they want to spend on it? Give them the education, give them a choice. If they don't want it, no problem. If they want it, cool. Does that help you think about being pushy? Yeah? Yeah. You're not being pushy, you're educating them. Always give them the choice. Okay, let's move on. The art of listening. I'm going to show you guys why it's so important to just not talk sometimes, even though I'm talking right now. Okay, I'm going to show you a video first. So what's this video? This video is me speaking to a guy I don't know. I was cold emailing some clinics talking about presenting to them. And this guy wanted to speak with me. Never met him. He's never met me. As he's getting to know me, he raises an important point about why he's hesitant to work with me. Okay, listen to this. Hopefully it is sound. So you might have listened to here. Just come back. Let's go again. Oops. So it's coming from this over here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that's the question. So you guys heard it?
What exactly? So how, I think you're saying something along the lines of, just got to explain his experience with this,
Yeah.
what it is that you provide, what it is this kind of thing.
Basically, the short version is, how can you help us when you've only been a physio for 18 months? That was the question. Okay, how would you help me respond to this? Remember, my agenda is I want to come speak to you. But he's just said, well, I've got 10 years, other guys got 6 years, other girls got 3 years. We're all more experienced than you. Why should I trust you to give me anything valuable? That's the question.
What are you selling?
I'm basically a workshop like this. Yeah.
But you have all your other stuff, your other experience.
He didn't know any of that.
Well, time doesn't necessitate value though. Like you can be in a business for 50 years or 40 years and it's a crap business and you provide crap value. You know, I know 5 clinics around the areas that I used to work around that were like that.
But I think the problem is that's
Oh no, I guess I'm not.
No, you're true.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
Yeah, true.
I'm just thinking like.
Yeah.
I think that's a great POV to have. I think he doesn't have that POV.
Yeah. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about like that's very arrogant to assume that you can't learn. But anyway, sorry. You're right.
But the reason I bring that is because it is direct confrontation, right? He's basically questioning my credibility. And you guys have to learn how to diffuse this. So I'm going to show you what I did next. Get ready to listen. Sorry guys, it's pretty soft. Okay, so that's how I responded. What did you guys think of that response?
I think it's good that you acknowledge what he's saying first. As in like, yeah, I get it. You know, I don't want to waste your time either. I can see why you might say that, you know, I've only been 18 months, you guys have 10, 15, whatever years. I think it's great that you acknowledge what he's saying, so he at least gets the matter of, okay, well, he's listening to what I'm saying and he's not just trying to push himself.
Yeah.
You're not confronting, you're not attacking back.
No. Why? Why don't you think I do that?
It's something, I feel like if you push back, you're like, no, I've actually, in this 18 months, I've done this, and this is what I can give you. It's almost like you're pushing them out versus, I don't know if pushing the right word, but as in, by going, okay, I can see what you're saying, it seems like you're drawing them in to a conversation.
Getting there, you're getting there.
Well, you're making them feel heard, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they clearly have an objection, and the objection is, what value do I see? And so you're aligning to, well, firstly you're acknowledging that, and then you're aligning to their own objection. And I assume after that you'll probably just maybe reassure them after that.
Yeah, so the first thing you have to do anytime you have somebody tell you one of their concerns is if you were in their shoes, you would say the same thing. That's empathy. If I'm in your shoes, I would say the same thing. So it is true, I only had 18 months. It is true. And it is true that if I gave them something crap, they would waste essentially an hour. That's precious. You guys know an hour in physio land is precious. So I said, yep, I don't want to waste your time. You're right. I only have 18 months experience. Because what this also does is exactly what you said, Perkwan, which is when you agree with somebody, their internal resistance goes down. First thing you do, anytime somebody says something, yep, I agree. It's not up to whether you disagree, it's how do you find a way to agree. I agree, then he goes, yeah, I want to give you a chance to. So I diffuse that situation. So here's how it ended. Oh, by the way, I put how would you feel? Feel, that's really important. How would you feel with my response? I don't care what he thinks about it. I want to know how he feels. And right now he feels like, oh, this guy's willing to listen. I can talk with him. Here's the response. This was 6 minutes later, by the way, from that. 6 minutes, so we did a lot of talking. Now listen to how it ends. Cool. So, I went from the first 4 minutes, skeptical, to 18 minutes. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So, the goal of listening is to understand the perspective of the other person, so that you can help them with their issue. His issue was, I don't trust you, basically. You're too inexperienced. What I said was, yes, what I'm teaching you is nothing clinical though. What I'm teaching you is nothing clinical. You guys all have more experience than me. I'm not teaching you how to treat. What I'm showing you guys is what I've learned over the years about how to sell well in health. And it applies to all fields. What did he say? Because I agree, man. It is really important. And that's how I got in. Yeah? Okay, so let's talk about how you do it. Bear in mind I was on the phone, yeah? So phone's really important. This is a framework of phone persuasion. So the customer experience team, you guys will definitely appreciate this as well. But I go through 3 things right away when I pick up the phone. Take control, explore, and I recommend something. Or I present some sort of new information. Let's go through what they are. What do you think I mean when I say take control? How do we take control of a phone conversation? He's called me many times, so he will know what I'm doing now that I say it. But how do you take control of a phone conversation?
Are you talking about in the sense of like in a conflict situation?
Any phone conversation. Doesn't have to be conflict. So customer experience team, if you guys have any input.
I just messaged him the same
Oh, all right, okay. Yeah. How do we take control of a conversation on the phone? It's the same thing you do it in person too. It's the same way to take control.
I guess the only thing that's coming to my mind right now is almost like, I'll try to lay out why I'm calling someone first, give them like a reason for the call.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as in like, hey, I'm part of PTC Performance, I'm here to see, we're talking about booking.
Yeah.
What happens like, as in, you know, you missed your last booking, I just wanted to touch base to see, you know, what happened there.
Yeah.
So I'll try to set a tone of like what I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah. Let's go they call in. Because most of the time, the important calls are the ones that they call in, right? Not the ones we call out. We can control that, but when they call in. The phone's ringing. How do we take control? Okay, I'm going to show you guys. You know you're in control when you're the one who is the one directing the conversation. You are the one asking the questions. You are the one guiding them towards yes or no's. You are the one who's going open or closed. Does that make sense? Okay. How do we do that in our field? Not just in physio, but in coaching. You take control by asking about their well-being. Doesn't really matter what they say. You just take control by asking about their well-being. So I've done variations of this. It's automatic for me now. So whenever Peter calls me, the first thing I do when I pick up is I give him a really random greeting. It's never like, hey, Peter. It's never like that. When my friends call me, it's always like, what's up? What's going on? He's laughing because it's true. I'm always really stupid when I answer the phone. And the reason I do that is because he's calling me for something, but when I give him something that's unexpected and like that, it stops him from thinking about that thing for a second or two. And then I can be like, what's going on? What do you want? Like, I can be the one now in control. Okay, obviously in our field, you don't go, what's that, to a patient calling in, right? So what do I mean by taking control by asking about their well-being? I'm going to give you an example now. A patient calls in and asks whether they can reschedule their appointment. Always happens, yes? Your first response is A. Sure. What day would you like? That's probably what most people do, yeah? Sure, what day would you like? Or B, is everything okay? Which one do you think now makes you more in control? B. Would you agree it's B? Is everything okay? You're the one. Okay, and this is the care factor. Is your patient really going to say, what are you asking? You provide care, right? Not that many. None of your business. Okay. So this is a very strong question. So the moment somebody calls in, you can listen to their voice that they're thinking something. Oh, hey, Jian, can you reschedule my appointment, please? The first thing you should do is not, yeah, sure, what would you like? The first thing you should do is, hey, Jian, is everything okay? That's what you should do. Because that flips them from, their intention to, no, everything's okay. Everything's okay. And then they might tell you what's happening. They might not. If they don't, we can move on to the next stage. Okay? Is everything okay? Any variation of this is going to work. Okay. Now, let's just say they go, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. You still don't know why they're rescheduling though, right? Why is it important that we know? Experienced team, if you want to chime in, why is it important that we know?
Well, I just find it's personal. Like, what's going on? You're sick, or you're busy, you're dropping your kids off, or something came up, whatever. I just find it makes it a bit more of a personal experience for them.
Think as a clinician, yes, Sam. Think as a clinician. Why is it important that you know? As a clinician, why is it important that you know?
For me as a clinician, I like to know if something has happened. So for example, I'm like, if you've got a fever, then I'm thinking, you've got back pain, you've got fever, systemic things, maybe it isn't musculoskeletal, or maybe I need to get you to your GP to get something figured out. Yeah. That's what I think more like clinician-wise.
Yes. As a clinician, that's why it's important. A lot of us, we think, but it's personal, like, I don't know. Stop thinking about you for a second. Imagine my dad, who had to go through another 2 weeks of antibiotics. Imagine if I had asked him, hey Dad, did you take your meds today? He goes, nah, I haven't. I went, okay, I just left, fully knowing what I know. Instead, if I had asked him, hey Dad, may I ask why? And he goes, I'm just really dizzy, blah, blah, blah. I have an opportunity to chime in and just push him through the last 2 days. Then he's free, right? But instead, I didn't do that. And I had to take him to ED at 3 a.m. Like, shit, I didn't want to do that. Okay, we have to ask about the reasons behind the request because we need to understand so that we might be able to provide better care, better solutions. The phone team, I'm not expecting you guys, and I'm sure Peter doesn't expect you guys, to be able to reason clinically with the patient because you guys don't have that. But something simple like, I'm just so pushed for time today. If it's a time issue, it's not a clinical issue. You guys can deal with that. You guys can say, okay, it's a time issue, we can move your appointment later, or we have something early tomorrow morning. How does that sound? Right? So you have to be proactive and you want to understand. Okay, so now we want to be able to do it without sounding really invasive. Right? Language. How do we use language? So, may I ask the reason for your cancellation or reschedule? May I ask your reason? How does that sound compared to me saying why? Why? It's a lot nicer, right? May I ask the reason behind your cancellation? Oh, no, I'm just really busy. Okay. Why? They're like, what do you mean why? Because I want to. That's why your language is important. If you don't mind me asking, what is the reason for your decision? Okay, and phone team, you guys, experienced team, you guys can all ask these questions. Sometimes if you just ask them, is everything okay, they'll just automatically tell you the reason. So now we got information. Oh, one more thing I want to add there. The fact that you ask about the reason and you give them the opportunity to talk about it, that actually has value in it. That's what counseling is, right? That's what counseling is. So never miss the opportunity to ask someone more about themselves. People who talk about themselves generally will feel trust toward you because you're willing to give them just some time of day. So it's just a chat, just a chat. Okay, after you have thoroughly explored their reason, it is time to present an alternative solution, or you give them more information. Okay, this is important because we are intentional about what we're doing. We're not just having a chat. Okay, but what do we say? What do we say? There are 3 broad categories. The first one is time/busy. They'll call it about something like this. If you're the phone team, you can offer a time that's close by very easily. If somebody says, hey, can I reschedule my appointment? You go, oh no, is everything okay? I'm just too busy today with the kids, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Well, we've got some later appointments, or we have some early appointments tomorrow. Would those suit you? That, again, gives them the choice to say yes or no. And it's much better than letting them decide that maybe I'll just come back in a week's time. Because then the treatment plan changes. You're like, oh crap, now we don't know how his progress is going to be. And it's even worse if they say, to leave them the option of, just call us when you're ready. People are too busy. They're not, sometimes they'll be like, it's fine, I'll call them, but they never do. So that's why you always want to be in control of the conversation. You're always guiding them towards a certain outcome. If they say no, that's it. Don't push it anymore. But you haven't done your best duty of care until you have given them the choice to say no. Okay. If it's a money issue, no one really says this. Some do, but not that many people. Take note and notify the treating therapist. So one of the things that I did a lot when I was selling is if somebody tells me it's a money issue, because I'm also the coach, I'm also the person in charge of pricing, I would always ask them, just so I know, give me a ballpark range, how much out of your budget is this? And they'll tell me, usually, 200. I said, okay, no problem. So just clarifying, if I'm able to work out a price range that suits both of us, that's within $200, would you be happy with that? They go, yeah, cool. So then I just work out something that reflects $200 less in value, and I pitch it. But that's because I'm the treating therapist. So how does this apply to you guys? If your patient says to you, hey man, I do want to come rehab, but I'm just swamped, end of year, I'm swamped for money, I don't know if I can maintain this once a week.
I always try to give, for money things, I try to find ways, not to make it cheaper, but alternatives. So like, maybe explain to your GP about your PTC, because that'll give you about $60 off. Maybe use those sessions, you haven't even start there.
Right.
Or if right now our treatment plan is twice a week, if that's too much, would it be feasible to do once a week? Because I still think that, we can modify things around there and just do once a week sessions. It might be that it might take longer, but that way we're still on top of it rather than just falling off completely. Try to pitch them different either treatment plans or different monitoring plans.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do.
That's exactly what I do. Exactly. But that's all you can do if it's a money thing. But you don't get to that unless you ask the question. If you don't ask them about why they're not coming, and you don't find out that's the issue, you can't provide an alternative solution, right? If you're a dentist who has a product that could help me 80% of the way, and it's going to cost me $3,000 less, it's my choice whether I want to buy it. But if you take that away from me, or you don't even ask me, then I'm missing out on that opportunity. Okay, so if you're part of the phone team, when a patient calls in, always make sure you ask why, not why, but what is the reason behind the cancellation, or what has led you to this decision. Whatever it is, you just got to find out why. If it's because they don't feel like it's a good job, you got to, as a phone team, okay, you got to thank them for their feedback, and then let them know that the treating therapist will be in touch to get feedback. How do we improve your experience next time? And that gives you guys a chance to talk it through. What could we have done better? And if they want to come back in, they can. But if they don't, then you don't want to leave it sour either. Just apologize if it wasn't what they expected, or if you want to offer them something better, then you can do that too. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so we're going to run it through a scenario now. A patient calls in and asks to cancel his booking. All right, so here are the principles. I'm going to be the patient. You're going to take control. You're going to find out why he's canceling, and then you're going to give a different offer or solution depending on what I say. And I'm going to try and be as realistic as I can. So who wants to be the phone person?
Yeah.
Yeah, the team.
Liz or Reem, you want to try? You guys know? Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You guys are trying to be too quiet. Oh
Okay, so maybe we'll use, is it Rianne?
Reem.
Reen.
Doreen.
Okay. So is it Liesl? Liesl, you're going to be next then, because I got two scenarios. Liz, okay.
Okay, cool. So one is Reem and one is Liz. We practiced it before, don't forget. Good luck.
Okay, so Reen, I'm not gonna be viewable, okay? Like a real phone call. Right, you ready?
So I'm gonna be. Sorry, wasn't so clear. Can you?
Yeah.
You're gonna be the patient?
I'm gonna be the patient.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Ring ring.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for calling PTC Performance. How can I help you?
Hey, I need to reschedule. I need to cancel my appointment.
Hi. May I have your name, please?
Philip?
Hi, Philip. Let me see. Do you know when your schedule is?
You mean like today?
Okay, let me check. Yeah, may I ask the reason why you're trying to reschedule?
Cancel.
That's if
Cancel.
you don't mind me asking.
I'm just too busy currently.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. So let me see what I can do for you. We have something for later today, if that works, or tomorrow morning.
Oh no, I just want to cancel.
Oh, you want to cancel? I see. Okay. So you don't want to reschedule anymore for this week or maybe next week?
No, I'll call you guys when I'm ready.
All right. So yeah, let us know when you are available. I will follow up with you this week and see if you're ready.
Okay, sure.
If that works for you. All right.
Bye.
All right. Thank you. Not sure. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so we'll do one with Liz as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so ring ring.
Hi, thanks for calling PTC Performance. It's Liz. How can I help?
Hey Liz, I need to cancel my booking.
Oh, sorry. Hi, this is Liz. What's your name, by the way?
It's Phil. Phil.
Phil. Hi, Phil. Is that for today? For today's appointment?
Yes.
Okay. May I know the reason why you'd like
I'm just
to
busy.
cancel?
I'm just busy.
Oh, do you? We do have other days available for you. Maybe tomorrow if you can make it.
Do you have anything later on?
Yeah, we do. We do have last schedule if that works for you, 4 p.m.
Nah, that doesn't work for me.
Any preferred time for tomorrow?
Can we do next week?
Yeah, can do. We do have available schedules for next week. Any preferred date and time? We'll see.
End of week, like a Friday?
Yeah, we do have one Friday. It is under Peter for Friday.
Yeah, that's
We
fine.
do have 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Awesome. I can go ahead and reschedule you to next week, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Awesome. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Okay, nice girls. So I was obviously a lot nicer to Liz than I was to Reen. Obviously, that's not personal to you, Reen. I was just giving you guys some options. I want you guys to don't jump straight to when would you like, because we just covered that earlier. Don't jump straight to what would you like. You want to find out first and inquire on their well-being. Why do we do that? How would you feel if the first thing I said was, "Oh no, is everything okay?" How would that make you feel? You're cared for, yeah. So we want to start with that. Okay, so how about we go through a role reversal? This is how I answer the phone when my patients or my clients want to cancel. So I was pretty mean to Reen, so Reen, you can do it back to me. So I'll be the phone person, okay? And you can do whatever you want, and I'll do my best to try and reschedule you for something else or give you a better option.
Hey guys, also, do you mind putting your videos on? Just then, yeah, that way you can actually see Phil as well. And he knows who you guys are. It's always good to, yeah. Thanks, Reed.
Sorry, Reen. I didn't mean to be. Sorry.
He's a mean person, this one. Mean customer.
Okay. So I'm not going to look at you, okay?
Okay.
Or on the phone. Hello, PTC Performance. This is Philip.
Hi, I'd like to cancel, not reschedule, my appointment for today.
Sorry, did you say you wanted to reschedule or schedule?
I want to cancel it.
Oh, you want to cancel your appointment? No problem. What's your name?
It's Reen.
Reen. Okay, let me just check real quick. Before we do that though, Reen, is everything okay?
Yeah, all good.
That's great. May I ask the reason behind your cancellation?
Yeah, I'm pretty, my schedule is pretty hectic this week and I'm not sure when I will be available.
Oh, okay, cool. The reason I asked that, Reen, is because on your file, Peters wrote down that he wanted to see you again in 2 days' time. So today's the second day, and because your condition for your ankle is in the early stages, the time we leave in between bookings actually influences your rehab outcome. Am I making sense with that?
Yeah, but I'm really busy at work right now. Is there any way that I could maybe do the session in another time?
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. So what we can do is, there's two options. Either I could get Peter to give you a call if you really can't make it. I could get Peter to give you a call and see when you can come in the next time. Or the other option is you're booked in for Thursday today. We have some later times on Friday, because I know you said you're pretty busy, or early in the morning before your day starts. Would that work for you?
But do I still need to come in? I'm kind of feeling better than the other day, so.
Yeah, in terms of pain?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of pain, that's actually what the physio expects, because if you do the rehab right, pain will go away. The next stage of rehab, generally speaking, is when Peter will focus on strengthening your ankle.
I see, okay.
Yeah, so either we have Friday early in the morning before your day starts, or we can go later on after work, because we're open till 7? We're open till 7.
Okay, I can do early morning.
Early morning, how does 7 o'clock sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, great. I'll book you in for 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you then.
All right.
Thanks, Reen.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. And then, boom. Okay, so that is very similar to what I would do with my own clients. I don't give them right away the option of like just deciding. And when you said, there's a part that's unfair with that, which is you asked me about pain, and obviously I know about it, so I can talk to you about it. But for you guys, if you're not in the field, you don't know how clinically that works. But what I wanted to illustrate is whatever they say, you always want to give them something more to think about. Was there any part of that that didn't make sense to you? Okay, and I want you guys to now think about how you felt. When I was talking to Ureen, did you feel like I was trying to push you, or did you feel like I was just giving you more information and not being too pushy about it?
I felt the concern. I felt a little bit of push, but it's not that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that relevant. But I also felt that, you know, you understood my concern and that you gave me options.
Yep. Okay, what would you guys say?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think the other part that I guess I probably should make as a helpful way is also to celebrate the win. So if they actually say, oh no, I'm feeling good. They go, oh, hey, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what we want. And that's actually the first part. You actually have 2 more steps after that.
Yeah.
That's actually going to help you to keep that way and stay that way. That's actually why the treatment plan that Peter's created is actually going to help you get there. I think that would also be helpful.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, so Liz, do you want to try again? Because Reen just did one. Well, we can try again, but maybe we'll get Peter to be the role, the patient.
Am I the patient? Okay.
Yeah, so Peter's going to be the patient.
We did this before.
Remember, you want to show care, concern. Concern is going to disarm more than anything.
Wait, I'm gonna flip this. No. Wait. No, I was gonna show you the other people there. So you see, this is Gian, by the way. He's a physio intern, one of the physio interns, and you obviously met the time. Okay, cool. All right, let's do it. I'm cancelling or am I?
Whatever you want, whatever you want.
Okay, I'll cancel. Should I be here? Oh, you're the patient?
Yeah.
No. You're gonna be the phone call, the person taking the phone call again. Yeah.
Liz, that's your job, man.
Can I call a friend? Sam, can you?
Oh my goodness. No, let's do it. This is good for everyone. Okay, so I'll ring, yeah?
Yeah, you'll ring. Yeah.
Okay. Ring.
Hi, thanks for calling PTC Performance. It's Liz. How can I help?
Hey Liz, this is me, Peter. Hey, I just need to cancel this appointment.
Oh, what happened?
Well, funny story actually. I was supposed to get here and now my car's broken down and literally I am so stressed because I know you guys have a cancellation fee as well, so like I just need to cancel it. Look, I'm happy to pay a cancellation fee, but I don't know what's happening with my car, like the smoke coming out, like, yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm really just sorry to hear about that as well, Pete. This is Pete, right?
Yeah, hey.
Okay, Pete. I know things like this may happen unpredictable, but we can actually help you out with this. If you can make it today, you really think you can make it today? We can reschedule you in the afternoon if you want
Well, actually, maybe that might work actually, because I just called NRMA, and they're going to be coming in to fix my car. They said that it's going to be a simple fix because there's just something going on. What time in the afternoon? Can it be really late?
Yeah, we do have the last appointment. If that would work for you. That's 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can make it.
so I think I can make it work. Can I call you back though? Because I'm not exactly sure if I'll be able to make it though. Is there any like leeway that I might have or something like that?
Yeah. Can you give us a call maybe if you can, like around 3 p.m. to schedule for the 4 p.m. schedule so that we can reserve it for you if that would work?
Only an hour? I can do that. Yeah, sure. But yeah, totally. Are you okay to do that?
Yeah. I mean, you can call us around like 3 p.m. for today just to make sure if you will book it for the 4 p.m. schedule.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. So that means do I have to pay cancellation or no?
No, you don't have to. We can waive the cancellation fee for now.
Oh, awesome.
We totally understand what happened.
Yeah.
But moving forward, we will only charge cancellation fee if this is like the second time that you'll be doing the same reason.
Okay. Yeah. This is once off. Like literally, my car's on fire. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much, Liz. I really appreciate that. Thanks for being flexible. I'll call you maybe in another 2 hours, 3 hours. I'll give you more time. Yeah. Thanks, Liz. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That was good.
That was pretty good. I actually really liked how you sounded about like, oh no, what happened, and all the other things that you said. Only thing I'm a bit of a, like, as you can tell, I'm a bit of a forward person. So I usually, personally for me, when that happens, I just tell them I'm going to call you at 3. I will call you to confirm, because you never know when they're going to call. Like they might not. But if I call you, yeah. So if you have the chance to make it about you taking action, but then you ask them for permission. Hey, I could give you a call at 3 p.m. to confirm. Is that okay with you? They say yes. Okay, then you call them at 3.
Right.
Nice. Good job, Liz.
Nice work, ladies. I know that was putting you guys under the spot, and very unnatural because you guys will do it every day. But the first thing I pretty much wanted you guys to do is to take control and show concern. Everything else you guys were doing was actually exactly what I would do. Just the moment you show concern, the person listening to it will kind of calm down, and then you can actually have a conversation. Okay. So scenario 2 is exactly the same. I don't think it's necessary.
Sorry. Sam's gonna take it. All good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's right. No. So actually, the second scenario is exactly the same. So we don't really need to go through it. Okay. So to basically summarize everything I've covered for you today, in terms of expectations, the best way to set expectations is to control the first thing you say. The first piece of information that's relevant to them, if you control what that is and you're precise with what you present, you control their expectations. And if you can control their expectations, you can influence their behavior. And the second way is the best way to change someone's mind on the phone or in person is to first truly understand their perspective. So take the time to understand, listen, show care, show empathy for them, and then present an option that could change their mind. Okay, any questions on that? No question? That's great. Okay, so if you guys want to learn more about these sales skills, I have a free 90-minute masterclass. It's got 90 minutes of all my best stuff in terms of how you speak to people and present things. You can just QR code that, enter your email, and it'll flick an email to you that has all my tactics. Did you say it actually does work?
No, because I wasn't sure if it actually would like project.
Yeah. It's just a broken screen. And if you want to stay in touch on the social media pages, you can either follow me on Instagram, it's just my name. You can go on my LinkedIn, which is just my name. And you can go on YouTube, which is again just my name. So you can just Google me, Philip Lau, and you'll find my stuff. It's all there. Okay, so this is the last part of the presentation. If we have time, I'm happy to do any Q&As that you might have. So fire away.
I guess like one question that I might have is, and you kind of touched on it already, is in terms of that whole setting expectations, you want to be factual and you want to be honest with things. But sometimes, you know, let's say for example, you've got patients who are quite yellow flaggy, very, you know, any little thing where you say like, you know, this can take up to 12 months and they lose their shit. 12 months, you know, is that going to be me? Am I going to be in pain for 12 months? How do you kind of manage those things? Where you want to be honest, say, okay, look, I'm trying to give you this idea of like, all right, I'm going to set this expectation. You can't take 12 months. Really assuming it might take less, but I'm trying to set this expectation for you. But then they end up, if they're a bit more on the yellow flaggy and they start just to hook onto that, oh my God, I'm going to be in that 12-month picture. I'm going to be in pain for 12 months. I'm going to be stuck with chronic pain for a long time now. Is there a way that you find to almost like balance those things? That kind of
Yeah. So when you present these techniques to really neurotic people, like they just zone in on the one, one of the ways is you can change the time frame, right? You're not lying, but you can say, look, instead of 12, you can say something like 8 or 6. You decrease the amplitude. It's still true. You're just not giving them a 12-year, right? So let's just use something like ACL. You can say after ACL reco, the most ranges of rehab are, if you're an athlete, some people can get back within 8 to 12 months to light activities. For full recovery, depending on how long you want, it could be 2 years, but that's for really high-level athletes who don't want to take a risk. And then there's other people who just want to go back to daily activities, and that can take anything from 6 months to 7 months if it's just normal walking. So for you, which one suits your lifestyle? How you manipulate the time frames is based off your clinical knowledge. The other option you can do with yellow flags is you only present the two more optimistic options. So you don't present the catastrophic ever if they're yellow flaggy. Don't present the catastrophic, but you present two optimistic ones that still manages the anchoring effect. So if you have a shoulder tendinopathy, cuff tendinopathy, you could argue that if it's poorly managed, it can go up to 6 months. But you're not going to say that. It can though, it can. So instead, you might say, okay, the people who manage really, really well, who do everything we ask them to do, they can go back to almost everything within 4 weeks, if it's a shoulder tendon problem. Sometimes, a little bit slower people, they don't recover as fast, they're not as diligent with their rehab, it could be 8 weeks. And that's in between. So you can pitch the information like that.
So best case scenario versus worst case scenario, anchoring either bottom or top.
Bottom or top, yeah. But not the amplitude. Control your amplitude. Yeah. Any other questions? Ladies? Really? Okay.
Read
Okay.
more questions later, don't worry.
Yeah. Salamat. Salamat. Okay, so to finish off, I think there were two things I picked up with,
How would you phrase things like when asking for a cancellation fee or wanting to charge?
when they cancel and you can't have cancellation fee, I think the first thing is when they're booking in, you have to set the expectation. First of all, when they book in, there's a cancellation fee. And look, it's always going to be slightly awkward when you do pitch it, but what I found when people cancel on my PT sessions or coaching sessions is I always start off by saying to them, like, Sam, thank you for letting me know. I'm really sorry. I hate to do this. I don't like doing this at all. We do have a cancellation fee of 50%. I'm really sorry. Like we do have a cancellation fee of 50%. And then you just see what they say. You just see what they say. And most of the people will say, oh yeah, all right. Like, do I have to pay it? You go, yes. Yes. And then you take the payment that way. The other way you could do is just be really nonchalant about it. When they say, oh, can I cancel? The first thing you say is, after you go through, is everything okay? You just go, okay, to cancel, that's going to be a 50% cancellation fee. Just like straight into it. No hesitation, just, okay, no problem. To cancel, it's going to be a 50% cancellation fee. Would you like to proceed? Would you like to proceed? Because insurance companies do this really well. Insurance companies, when you try and cancel, you have to call them first of all. The reason you have to call them is because they say that one line, which is, okay, so just so you know, when you go off your insurance, you will not be covered for anything until you pick up a new insurer. Are you still happy to proceed? And they scare you with that, right? And then sometimes they go, no, and I'll stay or I'll cancel. So you can apply the same tactic here. When they say, got to cancel, okay, sure, can we reschedule you? No, okay, no problem. Because it is only 1 day's notice, there's going to be a 50% cancellation fee. Would you like to proceed? Just straight. See what they say. If they say, no, I don't want to pay that, okay, I understand that it is frustrating. So would you like to come in today or reschedule? Yeah.
I've got to go. I'm just
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks for your work.
Yeah,
It was really
thank
good.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'll see you.
Cool.
I think we'll wrap up then.
We'll wrap up.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hope everyone learnt as well. Hope you guys learned.
Salamat, ladies.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you so much.
See you later, guys. See you guys soon.